podcast episode 2. This is a podcast about making beautiful, cozy, and happy things. My name is Leona, and you can find me online at Blue Merlin Makes on Instagram, and I have an Etsy shop of the same name. I hope that's covered what I need to cover at the beginning. It's been 3 weeks since my first podcast, so I feel about as green as I did the first time around. What else do I need to tell you? I live here in Delta, British Columbia, with my husband, who's an electrical engineer, and my 4 children. My eldest is 14. He's tech support and has helped set everything up for this morning's recording. And my other 3 are 12, 9, and 6. And, well, 2 of them are at school. One's home with a cold. So between child with cold and tech support needing help with some polynomial math, it's been an interesting morning. That's okay. It's all good. So here we have my little mascots. I think I've decided they're Flopsy and Mopsy. I showed these in my first podcast. These were made by my mom. They're little knit bunnies, and they're my little mascots. Hello. So I think I'm just going to dive right in. I actually have quite a lot to show, given that it's only been 3 weeks. So let's start with the mug of the week, mug of the podcast. I don't know. Podcast mug. So here we have a mug that I bought a few years ago at a really big craft show I go to pretty well every winter called Circle Craft. And I found this mug there. It's perfect size for tea, perfect handle. I can fit my whole hand in, and it's pretty. I love the little heart. Today's tea, by the way, is almond apple pie tea. It's really tasty. Requisite weather report. It's nice out today. It was horrible out yesterday. It was torrential rain and really dark, and today we have much brighter skies and a breeze and like actual sunshine, which here on the wet coast in the fall starts to get pretty rare, especially in October, November, December, January, February, and March, really. Anyway, enough about the weather. I've got my little podcast book here. Isn't it cute? This was from an advent kit from Nikki Franklin. And I will try to put everything that I mention in the bar down below. You can just click on details. I'll try to put everything in the podcast itself, but I'll try to chuck the links in as well. It's just a matter of me remembering, and around 4 children and multiple things going on, that gets difficult. Anyway, it is a really sweet little notebook with little hexies, so little hexagon squares like you would use for quilts and that kind of thing. And it keeps my podcast notes in it, because otherwise I'll just ramble. So let's start with works in progress. I have some fun things. Okay, let's get the first one out here. The first one here is an embroidery kit from the same Nikki Franklin. Nikki Franklin is a UK embroidery designer, and she creates these gorgeous kits. You can see how beautiful it looks. And this is the inside here. And this one is called A Visit from St. Nicholas. So you've got all your threads, and the colors are just gorgeous. Let's see how we do here with being able to see the colors. Aren't they pretty? And it comes with pre-printed linen and all the instructions that you need. So I started this just this week. I finished embroidering something else that I'll show you in a sec. So there's not a whole lot to show on it, but there we go. This is the start. So this is actually a little needle minder up here. So it's a strong magnet, and I can pop my needle on so that I don't drop it and stab myself with it or something exciting like that. And what I've done thus far is just, let's see how close I can get it, is one of the little gifts here. And this is done, and I hope it's focusing okay. This is done with satin stitch. So it gives a really nice sheen to it, and it looks like it's a little bit raised. So these kind of kits are such a joy to make. They're true slow stitching. You have to take your time, and for me that's really good, because slowing down is, I'm not very good at that. So yeah, I've started that, and I'm really pleased with it. I might even have it finished before Christmas, which would be really nice. Oh, the needle minder, I should say. That is from she's called Chapel View Crafts, again in the UK. And she does things like needle minders, stitch markers, jewelry, but she also does little miniature sets, so little dressers or shelves, and it's got all the little miniature dishes and the foods, and it's all done with polymer clay. And oh my goodness, her stuff is amazing. She's very, very clever. So I would go have a look. It's so neat just to see her work. She makes a lot of pieces of cakes and cookies and things like that. So if you like your sweets, that might be something to check out. So that's one of my works in progress. The other one, the embroidery is actually finished, and this is a little robin from Pretty Fabric and Trims, and this is, yes, another UK small business. So this is my little robin here, and he's mostly in satin stitch too. This is an English robin, of course. They're a little daintier than the robins that we get here in Canada. And I love the robins we have around here. They're so fun. They're always so cheerful. And this one too, I've got a little needle minder in the shape of a button, and I think that's been laser cut. So yeah, now what I need to do with this is this will become a heart. You might be able to see the faint outline. And you sew the heart up, stuff it, and add a little ribbon and a bell, and there we go, another Christmas make. Yeah, I should mention, I do feel like the UK is my spiritual craft home. I have a bit of a bias for all things English and for kind of the UK. My dad's from England, and I've just found so many different makers and creative types through Instagram from the UK, and I don't know, it's fun. Having a parcel arrive from England never ever gets old. So yeah, it's something I really enjoy. So let me see, do I have anything for, oh yes, I do have several works in progress. This is not going to look very exciting. These are Christmas bags. They don't look like much at the moment, but and the color is actually looking really orange. It's not. These are going to be just tote bags made with different Christmas fabrics. And yeah, it's really hard to tell what they look like at the moment because they are inside out at the moment. That's how you have to make them. But what I'll try to do is I have a neat photo of some of the different fabrics I'm working with, and I will try to pop that in here so that you can see. So that's it for works of progress thus far. I'm still working on my October scrappy shawl that I showed you last time. But that's kind of been, I haven't been doing as much on that, partly because I've been doing a lot of sewing and some embroidery, but also because I've been doing a lot of raking leaves in our front yard. We have an enormous maple tree, which we absolutely love, but oh my goodness, the sheer amount of leaves that come off that thing. And we have a storm drain just outside our house, so I have to make sure that the gutter and the storm drain are clear. And all that is to say, my elbow and my wrist are a little bit sore this week, so I just haven't done as much crocheting. But that's okay, all in good time, all in good time. I did a little bit yesterday when I was waiting to pick up my son from school, so little bits here and there. So that's it for works in progress at the moment. No doubt the next time I record, I will have more because I'm on a sewing roll and I'm loving it. I'll talk a little bit more about that after. So I'm just checking my little notebook here. Right, finished objects. Ooh, I have some really nice ones. Well, if I may say, I have some fun ones. So on that sewing roll, I've made a couple of pillows. And these are really fall themed pillows. So here we go. We've got beautiful fall themed pillow with gorgeous fabric from Acufactum, a German company. And they do a lot of really beautiful nature inspired illustrations. So this one is very fall. If fall is your thing, this pillow might be your thing. And this one, I felt like a sewing genius because it actually has piping on top here. And this is a book pillow. So you can tuck your book in here, thus, And there you go. These are great for kids, but honestly, as an adult, I would love to receive a book pillow. In fact, the second one technically I made was for a good friend of mine for her 40th birthday. I say the second one because the first one I made, I actually sewed the envelope opening on the back. I actually sewed it so that the direction of the fabric was the wrong way around. So I ended up keeping that one. It sits on our bed, and yeah. The one I made for her did turn out correctly, and the fabric is the right way. At any rate, book pillows, they're lovely. And I was really chuffed with how this turned out. And then the other one, instead of using piping, I used some, I think it's jacquard is the name, ribbon. And it's got a similar fox motif, and you can see I've reversed the fabrics this time. So this time the russet polka dots are on the pocket part, and then on the back we have all of the beautiful nature inspired with the foxes and the children and all the rest of it. So I'm really, really happy with how these turned out, and I would be happy making a gajillion more pillows, to be honest. Our entire house is going to be covered in pillows, blankets, quilts. It's getting there. It's getting there. Some other pillows that I finished last week. These ones are a little simpler, but they are just as nice. And this is another gorgeous Acufactum fabric. The fabrics you can find through Willow Cottage, especially if you live here in Canada. Willow Cottage Quilt Company is run by Andrea, and she lives in Alberta. So I live in British Columbia, so it's not that far away, which is really nice. And she carries all these beautiful fabrics. So I'm always keeping an eye on her feed and Instagram. And this one's it's just plain. It's a simple pillow, but I just think these are beautiful for the holidays. And the nice thing about something like this is, yes, it's Christmas-y, but I think you could really leave these out. You could probably put them out in November and leave them out well into January. I would anyway. And I made a pair of those. So there are two, and they're lovely and squishy. I'm very pleased with them. So I made those, and on a slightly more appropriate seasonal note, I have, excuse me as I reach down, my little mini pumpkins. One of my hairs on there. And I made these actually quite a few weeks ago, and I made them with scraps of fabric that I had left from some Halloween bags I'd made. I showed them on my first podcast, and so these little tiny scraps left, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do with them? And then I thought, oh, pumpkins. I can make pumpkins. I made a few last year which were much bigger, but I thought it would be fun to make mini ones. And I went into my stash of glitter fabric. So they're fancy. Let's see if I can hold some of these up so that you can see them. So there we go. And so I have a few made with Belle and Boo fabric. Again, Andrea from Willow Cottage Quilt Company is a really good source for those. Oh, sorry, my fingers are in the way. That doesn't help, does it? So this one's really tiny. And what's the other pattern? Oh, I think this is my favorite pattern with the little jack-o'-lanterns and the bunny on there. Boo the bunny. And then I also made some just with the fabrics I'd used for the lining for the bags I had made last week. And there we go. And then one in purple. And they're really, really fun. So they've been sitting on our sideboard in our kitchen for a good couple of weeks now in a really, actually it's got starfish on it. So not exactly appropriate sort of dish, but never mind. It fit and they look neat. So there's my little Halloween contribution, my fall make. And I do have one more fall make. And that is a little bit of crochet other than my shawl. And yeah, not being the most organized of podcasters, I finished it. I wove in all the ends, but I haven't actually blocked it. So it's curling up at the edges a little bit. So for those of you who don't knit or crochet, when you knit or crochet something, what you do is you block it using, you usually dampen the fabric somehow, whether it's just soaking it for a short while and gently patting the water out, or I think you can use steam, which I've never done. And then you just pin it out so it stretches everything so you've got the proper shape, which I didn't do. I have to admit, I don't like blocking. It's a nuisance. It takes time away from doing other things. And I just didn't get to it this week. But this is a crochet mandala. The pattern is from So Happy Creative, yet another UK small business. And she sells her crochet patterns on Etsy. And the mandalas are fun. Mandalas are just my husband would insist on calling this a doily. Yeah, well, I mean, he's an engineer. What does he know about crocheting? Anyway, yeah, he insists on calling this a doily, but it is a mandala, and they're really relaxing to crochet, and they're really fun too, because you can do them all in one color if you want. You can do them in multiple colors like I did, and I deliberately chose colors I wouldn't normally gravitate toward. I wanted to do a really fall-themed one. That said, I'm going through my yarn stash. I'm making me some Christmassy ones because I'm just full on Christmas maker mode right now. But at any rate, I'm really happy with it, and I will get it blocked and show you properly at some point, she says. I have shawls I made last year that I haven't blocked, which is not very good. And yeah, that's it for... No, it's not. It's not. That's not my final finished object. My last one is another quilted wrap, and I showed one of these last week that is my own, and I'm starting to slowly accumulate things like the pillows and the quilted wraps for hopefully some Christmas sales. So this is my latest Christmas quilted wrap, which probably doesn't go too well with my sweater today, but never mind. There we are. I love this fabric. So you can probably see it's got toadstools on it, and the reverse is a lovely polka dotty fabric, again from Acufactum. It's really, it's got a lovely texture to it, this fabric. It is showing up, I'm looking at my monitor, it's showing up a little more orangey than it does in real life. This is a fairly muted red. It's actually a red I really like. And I'll try to show you the pattern a little bit more closely. And we have, yeah, sorry, I've got to look at my monitors so I can see that I'm showing you. Oh yeah, that's showing up not too badly. So we have little toadstools, toadstool fairies, little snails, and it's just been quilted on just in sort of a diagonal diamond pattern. It's reversible, so you can wear it either side. If you can see any bit of pink on here, I went to throw this in the wash this morning to get the chalk I used to mark the lines out, and somehow didn't turn the wash machine on properly, so it still needs a wash and a dry, but that pink chalk washes out. It's actually really handy, that stuff. It's really easy to use, but it looks awful when you've got the finished project. You're looking at it and going, oh, it's gorgeous, but it's got all this pink. It washes out. So yeah, that's it's been a pretty productive few weeks, definitely. And hopefully I'm not rushing. I feel like I'm rushing. I don't know. I think it's just been such a busy week. I'm still in, like, you know, this mode where you just feel like you keep having to keep doing that, which is really articulate and helpful. So I'm going to refer to my little notebook again. Hopefully I'll get better at this, but yeah, not all the time. Okay, lovely things. There have been lots of lovely things actually over the last few weeks. One lovely thing definitely that was 3 weeks ago or so was Thanksgiving here in Canada, and we got together with my brother and his wife and my sister and her fiance and our nephew and my mom and dad, and we got together for Thanksgiving dinner, and that was really nice. I mean, given the way last year's gone, even though none of us live very far away, and because there are actually 4 of us all together, my youngest brother and his wife couldn't make it, it's really hard for all of us to be able to get together. So it had been a long time since we were together. So we had a great dinner. Food was lovely. My Oma was there, which was really nice too, so that all of us got to see her. So that was really nice. And that same weekend, we took the kids out for pumpkins. And if you follow me on Instagram, and if you happen to look at my stories, I keep taking pictures of them. They're out on our back deck, and we have 2 doors that look straight out onto the back deck from the kitchen. And it's just, The orange, a color I would never wear. I would never paint anything in the house orange, but I love seeing it outside. So that was fun. We took the kids on the Sunday morning to a pumpkin patch we've been to a few times. And it was a beautiful sunny day. The rule for the kids was you have to be able to lift it. And so the younger two followed the rule. The eldest, yeah, he sort of followed the rule. Son number two, however, so this was his way of working around the rules. You have to be able to, I should have said you have to be able to carry it. I said you have to be able to lift it. So yeah, he could lift it, just. His pumpkin is, I think, about this big. Anyway, he got his older brother to help him, so he got away with it. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. So that was one of the lovely things. Another, lovely thing, it's nice. Eldest has got himself a job, which is pretty neat. So our son's 14, and he's been champing at the bit to get a job because technology. If any of your kids are gamers or into video editing or computers, that kind of thing, that is son number one and son number two, but son number one being that little bit older, he was actually able to get a job at our local deli. So he just works 2 days a week, which is plenty, but that's pretty neat for him. A bit of a change for us. I mean, wow, like you have a teenager, B, you have a teenager who's working, all those things, all those changes. So that's been good. Apart from that, upcoming lovely things. I actually get to go to Circle Craft this year. So Circle Craft, which I mentioned in my first podcast, is a great big craft show that's held in downtown Vancouver every year, except of course last year, and we know why. But my mom and I are going this year, which is really, really exciting. Although I have to admit, because like it's been a year of not really going out much, I'm sort of like, wow, it's going to be a lot of people. I have to readjust to that, but that's okay. I'm really looking forward to it because it really is sort of the start of the looking forward to Christmas season, which is really nice. And yeah, it's exciting. It's fun to see the different things people make, people create, and yeah, it's just got a great feel to it. So that's exciting. Yeah, and we do have kind of a cloudy, sunny. So I know the light's probably changing a lot today, but what do you do? Work with what you got, right? It's better than yesterday when it was dark. So those are some lovely things. Lovely things that have come in the mail. This just arrived today. Some new yarns from Sherry Iris. And I mentioned Sherry Iris in my first podcast. She is a yarn dyer from, you guessed it, the UK. She and her son have a business. Her son does all the the illustrations for all of the stuff they produce, and she does come up with these amazing colors sort of based on the natural world. So this set is poppies and brambles. Just gorgeous. So that just arrived this morning, which was pretty nice. But I spared you the unwrapping of the tissue paper because it was a bit annoying. What else? Oh, the other thing that came this week. Sorry, as I lean over. This is all I'm going to show you. This is from Pretty Fabric and Trims. So this is a Christmas Eve kit. Beautifully packaged. And in there is a lovely project. And the idea is when all those sorts of preparations are done, you get to open that and you get to start this lovely creative slow stitch project. So I'm really excited. These kinds of kits that a lot of these businesses do, you end up pre-ordering usually back in the spring because fair enough, they need to know how many supplies they need. They kind of need to have an idea of how many people they're going to be sending these out to, and also because you probably have been hearing it too, supply chains are still a bit mucked up and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think I ordered that way back in the spring, and then it showed up just this week because of course the makers like to have this stuff arrive well in time so there's no issues with the postal system or anything like that getting closer to Christmas. So that's really exciting, and I promise I will show you what's in there, but that'll have to wait until after Christmas Eve. And the last thing, what side did I put it on? I've got things on either side of my chair here. This is professional. This really is. It's a professional business, this. Back to sewing. I had ordered some Liberty fabric. Liberty being a very, very well-known English, I'd say fabric company, but they do clothing and all sorts. They have a really well-known shop in London, which maybe one fine day, you never know. For now, though, I have to settle for ordering online. So just let me get my pile straightened out here. And I have a little pile of Liberty here, Liberty fabric. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them yet. If you have suggestions, let me know. I will say there's not enough to make stockings. I do have plans to do that with other fabric. But we've got this here, which is, woo, shiny. Metallic silver, metallic gold, and we've got sort of candy cane lights. So much fun. And these are all actually the same pattern, the silver and gold ones. The print itself is called Wiltshire. And then this in really Christmassy colors. Actually, there's several fabrics underneath. I'm not going to dig them all out. And then this one here. More of the same. We don't need to see the same one. And that one there. I really like this one. It's kind of a unique color combination. And then this one. This is gorgeous. I love it. And I've actually got a bigger piece of that. So if you sew with Liberty fabric, and if you have any suggestions of what to make, I mean, it's so pretty. I have the stack sitting on my ironing board. I'm going, oh, it's lovely, but I haven't decided what I'm going to make with it yet. That's okay. All in good time. Last couple of things I wanted to show you last. Couple of lovely things. I'm out of shot of the camera again. Sorry. So last week I was talking about books, and I talked about a book called Rose Daughter. I also talked about a book called Chalice. Well, I want to come back to Rose Daughter for just a sec. I don't think I put a picture in. This is my copy of Rose Daughter. I don't actually know how long I've had this book. The price is $7.99 Canadian, so that'll tell you it's been a little while. Pocketbooks like this are more expensive than that now. So this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which I mentioned in my last podcast, and it is, I think lush is a good word for the writing style. It's lush, it's beautiful, it's, I want to say escapism at its best. Well, yeah, it is. It's a fairy tale with a happy ending, but it's just so well written. So the interesting thing is Robin McKinley wrote this back in when? Sorry, I should have looked this up earlier. This was written in, 1997, so my first year of college. But what's really neat is she originally wrote this, which is called Beauty. This is actually a young adult book, so my daughter's going to be reading it next. And this one was actually published, I believe, I want to say 1978, but I don't think that's correct. Let me double check. Oh no, I was right. 1978. So this book is as old as I am. And what's fun is reading this, reading Beauty, after having read and reread so many times, Rose Daughter. So it was a lot of fun reading this and kind of seeing the beginnings of what would end up as Rose Daughter. This was such an enjoyable book, and I know my daughter's going to love it too. My daughter's nearly 10, so this is just the descriptive language is probably still a little bit above her reading level. So I said, when you're a little bit older, you'll really enjoy this. But this definitely is well worth a read, both by adults and kids, really. So yeah, the same thing, retelling of the story of Beauty and the Beast, but I think retellings of fairy tales can be a lot of fun because everybody's got their own take on it, their own take on the characters and that kind of thing. So I would strongly recommend both these books, just 100%. That's my endorsement. The other thing I've been reading, which is going to seem kind of weird, but this guy, I know, UK again, Jamie Oliver, we have a bunch of his cookbooks, and my thing in the morning is once I've got the school lunches packed up, the kids are eating breakfast, I sit down to have my breakfast and tea, and I'll usually read a cookbook because I'm not really interested in reading the papers, there's enough bad news. I don't need to read about more of it. So I'll usually read a cookbook, whether it's something like this or Nigella. That's another one, Nigella Lawson. But I've been rereading this, and it's fun. These were some of his older books where you actually get it's not just the recipes. He'll actually write little blurbs, which you might be able to see here, about the food. And you know, if you follow Jamie Oliver, if you've watched his shows, his enthusiasm is infectious. His love of food is infectious, and they're just fun. They're just fun to read. So they're great, sort of light getting kids to school reading. I've read something with breakfast for probably all my adult life, so it's not a habit I'm ever going to get out of, nor do I wish to. So that's that, and I have nothing else left in my book, but I completely forgot to show you one finished object, which I actually have to put on. Oh no, I have another one. Oh, I might have to show that next time. Rats, forgot to bring that up with me. Anyway, I get cold hands really easily, and I wanted to have something that I could wear while crocheting still that would leave my fingers free. So I made these wrist warmers, which I'm pretty pleased with. They're loosely based on a pattern from Pearl Soho, very loosely. And what I did is I had seen some tweed on a fabric website. Sorry, brain's just not working today. On a website that sells fabric. Some gorgeous tweed. And I thought, ooh, that's beautiful. What can I use for the lining? And then I thought, ooh, flannel. So these are flannel line tweed wrist warmers. And the flannel is a really nice kind of neutrally wintry. I hope you can see that. That's not that great, is it? Sort of like a winter grass, that kind of thing. Or, oh no, that's pine cones. At any rate, they're lovely and warm. And I use one of the decorative stitches on my sewing machine to top stitch or around the top, which I really like. I need to do more of this. I need to try more of this, get a little more brave with the decorative stitches on Polly, my sewing machine. So there we go. So yeah, like I say, it's been a productive few weeks in spite of, you know, busy life with 4 kids. And what I completely failed to bring up with me was I managed to whip up a Harry Potter style or a Hogwarts style gown for my daughter to wear. She wants to be Hermione. What girl doesn't at some point, I think, especially given that my daughter is such a bookworm, and of course she loves the Harry Potter books. And I will have to show you that because it's kind of a cheat. It's not a real robe. It's actually just 2 pieces of fabric sewn together and then, you know, turned right side out and the gap stitched up. And then I just I had her stand with her arms out. We sort of draped it over her shoulders, and then I just sort of pinched the fabric down to sort of give the idea of like faux armholes, and stitched about that much either side so she can get her hands in. And we made sure she was wearing her winter coat because it's actually going to be a beautiful clear night for Halloween. Fingers crossed. Environment Canada says so it's going to be. But it's supposed to be only, I think, 2 degrees that evening, which I love, but the kids need to be dressed properly. So yeah, we got that. Maybe what I'll do is later I'll try to get a picture and put that in here somewhere, just in case I forget next time around, because the next podcast will be quite a ways from Halloween, I think. So yeah, what else? Oh, let's see, crafty dreams. So for years I've been making stuff for my own craft show. I've hosted in my home for many years, and several years back my friend joined me in this venture, and we've been calling it the Handmade Home Christmas Craft Show. Needless to say, last year it didn't happen, and this year it's probably not going to happen in its usual guise, just because partly because of the ongoing nonsense that we won't even get into, partly because both my friend and I have been really busy, but I'm looking at ways and ways of trying to, you know, certainly to get friends and family to be able to pop around if they would like to be able to purchase something made locally where you don't have to worry about shipping delays and fun things like that. But my crafty dream for the last couple of years has been to have almost like a Santa's workshop you know, where I've got Christmas things made left, right, and center, and my sewing area is in the kitchen. And I'll try to take a picture of that one of these times. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see it there. I post on my stories pretty regularly if I'm not too tired. And so my dream is to have, you know, the lovely fabrics out and the house filling up with these gorgeous Christmas things and have Santa's workshop. And honestly, when I was doing some sewing on whatever day it was this week, doesn't matter, it really felt like that because I was working on the bags that I showed you earlier. And I was like, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want for my crafty life. Eventually I'll get there. So fingers crossed I get, you know, more days like that where it really feels like I'm working in Santa's workshop, making beautiful, cozy things just for people to warm themselves up with, or to give to somebody they give to someone they love, that kind of thing. I'm well on my way there. We'll yeah, I'll get there eventually. The whole crafty business thing has been a dream for many years, but we do live a pretty busy life with 4 children, and certainly managing my little guy's diabetes, that takes a lot of time, energy, brain space, which is fine. That's totally fine. He's healthy, he's happy, I'm doing a good job. So but yeah, it's nice to see little snippets of the dream becoming reality. So yeah. Anyway, on that note, I think that's it. I don't know how long this is, and it'll probably go up several days after I edit it because I'm not fast, and also because kids and time and all the rest of it. But that's okay. I've recorded a second one, which is, you know, that's an achievement in itself. So I hope you've all had a lovely October. It honestly feels like it's blown by. It's been a busy month and it feels like it's gone really quickly, but I hope you've had time to enjoy the fall weather. If you're a crafter, I hope you've had time to enjoy some crafting, and I hope you've had time just to relax and rest. We live in pretty busy times, no matter what our family situation and life is. Kind of, it can feel endlessly busy, so make time for yourself, make time to sit and read, have a cup of tea, go for a walk, that kind of thing. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you again really soon. Take care. Bye now.